Last night, I lay in bed looking up at the stars in the sky, and I thought to myself, where the heck is the ceiling? Now that's what I call a horrible quote. Alright guys, so now that's done. You want to go now over to your nodes panel, make sure your auto track is selected. So now right click and select camera solver. There's only really two things you have to check for now. Set initial frames automatically. This should all be checked. Every single little check mark you see here usually is automatically when you first start the program until you ever change it once. There is one thing that you should check actually, and that's exhaustive. I use it for every single solving solution I need. And to be honest, it actually is a bit of a difference. I'd say a good 10 to 20% difference, which is actually a lot. This should probably take about 5 minutes for me to solve because I'm still actually right now in the middle of rendering the first part of this video through Adobe CS5 Media Encoder. So that's going to take a little bit of a big hit on my CPU. So let's come back when this thing is done. Alright then, after that's done, you now want to go over and select any of your trackers. Doesn't really matter, but preferably a good track, which is a green one, yellow is alright, and red is, of course, apocalyptically nuclear bad. So let's select this green one right here. Looks pretty good. Go over to our little box right here that says orientation and set origin. Now go over to your camera solver in the tree panel node, select it, right click it, and now select orient scene. Now you have these little boxes right here. Don't worry about any of these things. Just you want to go over to the box that says orientation, select your edit mode, and select rotate. Now what you want to do is you basically want to have your ground plane set to the most realistic kind of way or look that it would have if you had an actual physical 3D scene here. This isn't really that important, but it is when setting up many amounts of objects. And as you can see, this is a bit tricky to get, considering your controls are not really that fluid. So what I like to do is I like to go over here towards my viewport, and on the right we have these buttons 1, 2H, 2V, and 4. Those are your viewports for vertical, side, top, and perspective. So I'm going to select this one for all 4 viewports. Now that we're here, you can alt right click and left click and middle mouse button to move around in space. Which basically what you want to do now is you want to get your ground plane to as close as possible to your trackers. So as you can see, my trackers are sort of laid out in a little kind of thick paper right here. So I want to align them about just right as they actually would. So let's see here. Close, almost there. That's about right. And in a perspective view, we can loop around this thing to see if some things sort of look right from a different perspective. So, okay, we got the paper right here. And if we notice on here, this little curving part is actually the binding of the paper itself. So I'm actually surprised. I got the binding of the notebook. Okay, now let's go back out to our normal view. Select single cinema viewport or 1. And let's just move this around a bit more. But for the most part, this looks pretty good. Now let's just scrub through our footage to see if things stick. Okay, I like that. Moves just a tiny smidge, but just a bit. I'm surprised it didn't actually track that fly that just flew in right now. Okay, actually this is pretty bloody good. Wow, damn, that's pretty nice. Okay then, it actually might look pretty messed up in your view on YouTube because I'm playing a video at 30 and the video's at 29 point. Whatever, the point is this looks freaking good. All right, now after that's done with your orient scene, you want to right click it again. And now you want to select, let's see where it is, test object, just to see what it would look like tested. Select any of these objects right here, left click thumbtack. I suggest clicking a few, so let's get about 5 of them in. Okay, select your object over here in your scene objects. Pick any tracking point and just, dot them along the page. Remember, try to dot them in extreme points that are really off camera, because the ones that are going to be in the middle of your scene, the closest one, are actually going to probably be the most accurate. So one more just right for the middle. Actually, let's put another one over here. That's about good. All right, so now let's go scrub through our footage. You probably won't be able to see this right, but let me just say, this looks freaking good. In fact, this is probably the best ever tracking I've gotten so far. Wow. That is pretty freaking good. For a guy like me, holy moly, that's pretty good. Okay then. So now you're all done with that. Nothing else to do. You want to now delete your test object node. So select delete. Now what you want to do is select orient scene, right click it, and now select export. From here you want to now select from your scene export, select format and select, I keep saying select too much, Autodesk Maya 2011 ASCII. Okay, or whatever you want, Adobe After Effects, Wavefront OBJs, Auto FBX, Soft Image, Shake, and Python, whatever. Just select anything you want. But for this thing, of course, we're going to use Maya. So Autodesk Maya 2011. Okay, and now select Show All Trackers, just in case. I like to see all my trackers and their info, of course. And now you might want to scale the scene, just in case, but I'm going to leave it at that. And now finally, you don't want to make sure to select clip export. You just want to select the actual tracking information here. And now finally, for the final time, select export scene. That was actually a bit slow because I'm still rendering the other video, but you get the point. Export has been succeeded. Now let's get all this stuff set up in our scene. A small boy swallowed some coins and was taken to a hospital. When his grandmother telephoned to ask how he was, a nurse said, "No change yet." Ha 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 ha. How funny.